In 1943, tragedy struck as Alastair, the dashing second Duke of Connaught, met a heartbreaking end, leaving a lingering speculation in the air. What if he had ascended the throne earlier? You see, this seemingly worthless 28-year-old descendant of Queen Victoria held a tantalizing possibility of becoming the king back in 1942. This potential rise to power was tethered to a scandalous rumor alleging that King George B might have been entangled in a secret marriage with the daughter of an admiral during his stint in Malta as a young midshipman. Whispers wafted through high society, suggesting parallels to George Ivy's clandestine union with Mrs. Fitzherbert a century earlier. According to the hearsay, George B had covertly tied the knot with a woman named Mary Colm Seymour in 1890, purportedly bearing 3 children from this union. These rumors didn't simply vanish. They resurfaced when George V ascended the throne in 1910, triggering a scathing article in The Liberator that directly accused the king, then married to Princess May of Teck, of bigamy. The royal family was rattled, George's reputation was struck a devastating blow, and his private secretary Lord Stamfordham had to issue a public statement condemning the cruel and wicked lie. The author of the accusatory piece, Edward Mylius, faced the consequences. He was arrested, charged with criminal libel, and sentenced to a year in jail. Yet, doubts lingered. Mary Colm Seymour, pivotal to the controversy, conveniently forgot an evening she supposedly spent dancing with the Prince of Wales, later King George B, at a Portsmouth ball. Skeptics raised eyebrows at this lapse. How could someone forget an encounter with royalty? This scandal hit close to home. George V and Mary were grandparents to the late Queen Elizabeth II, who had known them as a child and held affection for them. Had Mylius substantiated his claim, George B's marriage to Princess May would have been deemed invalid. This would have nullified the claim to the throne for his children, King Edward VI, King George VI, and their descendants. So who would have inherited the throne in this alternate reality? The line of succession wouldn't have led through Mary Colm Seymour or her children, as their marriage lacked royal permission and would have barred them constitutionally from the throne. Instead, the throne would have shifted to the descendants and relatives of George V's father, Edward VI. With no other living sons, Edward VI's line pointed to his brother Prince Arthur, the Duke of Connaught, Queen Victoria's third son. Upon Prince Arthur's passing in 1942, the crown would have passed to his grandson, Alastair, the second Duke of Connaught. But Alastair wasn't the sterling figure one might imagine in a monarch to be. By the time the throne might have come his way, he was a washed-up junior officer in the Royal Scots Greys, a regiment that had little use for him, even in wartime. Colleagues and family painted a less than flattering picture. He was described as vague, feckless, lacking in mental acuity, and even considered dissolute, a far cry from the dignified image of a king. His struggles with alcohol were evident. Despite protests from his uncle, efforts were made to send him away to Canada as an aide-de-camp to Lord Athlone, essentially to remove him from the limelight. Tragically, Alastair's irresponsibility led to his demise. Found dead in April 1943, it was widely believed that in a drunken haze, he had opened a window, possibly intending to relieve himself, and had fallen asleep, succumbing to the freezing night air. And so the intriguing possibility of a what-if scenario surrounding Alastair, the second Duke of Connaught, and the potential shift in the line of succession, all came to a tragic and futile end. Dear friend, if you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.